Double check that we're live here. Looks like we are live. Welcome everybody to an impromptu, well, not really impromptu. We decided we were going to do this like last week. I think we said a month back that we're going to start doing like once a month live streams, Joey's internet permitting, um, as we showcase an adventurer's tale, the point and click game that we are developing in the Weave of the World universe. I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfell, and I am joined today by you.
Good Bradlaw, Joey Anderson.
Chris is around here, but she's not part of this one because her webcam's down, so we're waiting for that to get delivered. Um, I should not have had pretzels before we kicked this off because now I'm like, yum, yum, yum.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're part of Wandering Hermits, which is a small company that we formed to house the production of this game and also the 5th edition tabletop setting and the adventure novel, which is being published. Everything we're doing is being done through Patreon. So if you want to know more and you want to pick up a pre-order copy of the game, pre-order copy of the tabletop stuff, pre-order copy of the book, get behind the scenes access to all the stuff we do because we do 3 updates a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. We've been doing those since March of 2021. We have not missed a single week. Chris? Puerta. If that is, yes, go, Chris. And if it is, I need to go down with you. So come get me if it is. I apologize for this. I'm waiting on my Xbox Series X to get delivered today, and the door buzzer just rang. So it's either that or the trash guy, and I didn't know because I got my headset on. So she's running down to check real quick. If it is, I'll have to bail because I got to go make sure that it is what it is. Anyway, this is what we're building. Check it all out on Patreon. Today, if you haven't already done so, we released the demo for the adventure game and Adventurer's Tale in late October, early November. And Joey has been doing a series of how to build a game, how to build a point and click game in Unreal over on YouTube. And he's been walking us through what he's been doing here with this. I'm going to turn it over to you, Joey, real quick and just peek out the door to make sure that that's
Yeah,
not
you're
what I
good.
need to do. And you can kind of give an introductory to this, and I'll be right back.
Perfect. Yeah, so like he mentioned, we have the demo up. That demo features this scene that you're looking at here, um, and then these 3 interior scenes. You've got a tavern, you've got the bookstore, and you've got the general store, which these all have names. This is Penny's General Store, this is Lauren Lexicons, and this is the Stony Brook Tavern. This is Fire and Flint Forge. This does not currently have an interior, but someday it might. So that's what the demo's covering. Is this what you're looking at here? Did you get your Xbox?
No, that was just trash guy.
Oh, just trash. Well, that's kind of like an Xbox too, anyways, right?
Yeah,
Like, trash.
yeah, ha ha ha.
Oh,
All right.
cool.
So what did you fill him in on?
I was just saying what the demo covered, like what we're looking at here. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
these
just the first
these
4
scenes right
buildings.
here. Yep.
And
And
then,
then what?
do you have the map up, or do you want me to pull it up?
If you got it, that just saves me from having to get rid of this full screen. If you've got it.
Um, yeah, but here's the thing: we're streaming on
Okay, well
here.
here
No, no,
I
it's
will
all
pull it
good.
up. No, I'll pull it up on my other monitor. I've got 2 monitors here,
Okay,
so.
there you go.
The one that you sent me with the
I see one with
t-
POIs recently.
yeah, but it wasn't the 8K version,
No, I see you
so
the. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted the 8K version.
it's really blurry. So we're not going to show that one
Oh,
because it's really blurry.
oh, you know what? I sent you the. I know why I didn't send you the 1920. And this one doesn't have the POIs on it. What the hell?
That's what I'm saying. That's because this isn't the blurry one.
Hmm.
You want me to pull up the blurry one?
Let me double check. I'm gonna double check. I don't know what I sent you the other day.
It was really bad.
Oh, anyway, just yeah, we need the ones with the POIs.
Okay,
Now we're looking
it's
really unprofessional. Let's see
it's
here.
okay. It's
I could
okay.
have
We're not professionals.
sworn I thought they were in the Mega too, but let me double check
I
this.
found it. I was looking for it in the mega.
is Marin's Rest? I have way too many screenshots. I need to.
Mhm. See how blurry that is?
Hang on, let me look at yours. It doesn't look blurry to me. It looks great.
Really?
Well, but you have, I know what though, is that you have the 800 by, I know which one I
Uh-huh.
sent you now. It's the 800 by 600 one, not the 8K. I sent you the one I used for Patreon, not the full size image. That's my fault. So I'm going to ping this over to you in email real quick.
That would be awesome.
Um,
Because like I can read it, but it's kind of hard to read these.
all right, so this is going to come from my personal email. I'm sending this to you, Jade. This is how we roll.
Anyways, on this map, while we're getting the nicer one up, you can get an idea of the layout. Rough idea of the layout anyways. I'm changing things a little bit to work with the ease of the land that I created, but for the most part, I'm matching it up pretty gosh darn close.
All right, you should have that in your Gmail now.
Unless it went to spam. What the heck?
It might take a second. That's a 20 meg
I don't have a
image.
second.
But
This is modern. This is modern day. Like, come on. Mm. There it is. Oh, yeah, that's much better.
yeah, I could have sworn the one I sent you was the 1920 by 1080 social version, but apparently I sent you the Patreon version because I send this. I use the small files for the headers on the Patreon. Um,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I know this is up in the Mega somewhere. It's
About that.
probably in that folder that I uploaded, which has all my stuff in it, because I update that once every couple of weeks.
Well,
Oh, you're
that's
you're gonna pan
that's the
out and
one I
show
went and
us
looked at.
everything.
Yeah, that way you kind of get a look at how things are looking here, and then
Let me get a
we can
screenshot
look
of
at
this
the
actually
map.
real quick.
So this is the stable area that I just recently kind of got laid out. And then we don't really know what we're going to be doing with this area yet. These are just a couple of farms. And so we don't even, more than likely we're not going to, this won't be playable area at the moment anyways. Marin's South or whatever we call
Hmm.
this. But it's on the map, so I put it there and we'll see if we get, because we might see it when we're in one of these scenes over here. So there's that.
All right, so for reference, what he was just showing you, if you look at the bottom left of this image here, um, we've got the four buildings. Yeah, we can see your icon. Cool. So that's what you're seeing there that he just panned out onto. So
Yep. So
Marin's
here's the,
Rest is right. Marin's Rest is going to be all of this once it gets built
hmm
in its entirety, and we are building it in a single zone as if it were like an MMORPG zone. So if you look at
hmm
traditional um, like old school point and click games like Quest for Glory, King's Quest, all those other games, those were all hand painted um, backgrounds within an avatar and NPCs over the top of those painted backgrounds. Since this is a 3D game, we're not dealing with hand painted backgrounds. So we're actually building this. I mean, if we were to want to flip this and make like a first person RPG, or a top-down isometric RPG, we could totally do that because these buildings are built in a 3D environment. So I know you showed in your dev streams as an example that you're manually placing the camera for each scene in a place that we feel gives the best representation of what we need to see in that scene for the visual narrative that we're going to be telling with this game as it plays out. But if we were to get rid of that camera and have a camera that
hmm
followed the character like Diablo style, we could do that.
Yep.
Or if we wanted to drop a first person character on the avatar and suddenly we're playing a first person RPG like Skyrim, we could totally do that. This is
Absolutely.
not, I don't want to say that we're doing this on purpose, but it does, we have talked about this in the past. This does allow us the flexibility of, say, when we get done with this game and we go on to whatever is the next project. We've talked about what that might be. Um, and one of the things we've discussed is making a traditional RPG set in the same world, and having this scene already built out in this way, or this whole zone, as I should say, rather, having this whole zone built out in this way means that if at any point in time we decide that we want to go back and start working on an RPG version, we already have this built. So we don't have to go back and rebuild everything. There might be some optimization that has to be done, reconfiguring LODs, things of that nature. But because we're building it in 3D, we can do it however we want. But right now we are dealing with the stable camera, or the stationary camera. And this is the entirety of the building that we're building. Entirety of the zone that we're building, I should say, for the city of Marin's Rest. Town of Marin's Rest. Why am I saying I need more coffee?
Yeah. Plus, yeah. Yep. It's all good. I minimize that for now. So yeah, zoom in here,
That looks really cool when it's zoomed out like that. Can you get me a screenshot of everything zoomed out like that?
like top down.
Yeah, top down. That looked really cool. And then can you pan it up just a little bit so we get the windmill in the background? Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know
And
if you
maybe even
saw
pan it to the right just a little bit.
Kilkenny Mill.
Yep, Kilkenny Mill up there in the distance. Pan it just to the right a little bit so that we get a little better, a little bit more. That might work. Yeah, that's
I
good
know.
right there. Yeah, that's good. Give me a screenshot of that.
Boom. Done.
That'll be for tomorrow's update.
Heck yeah. I just noticed something. I need to fix that. So for some reason, when I mirror these, and I talked about that in one of my videos, when I mirror these meshes, excuse me, for some reason it doesn't want to render the one side, and I'm thinking that has to do with the way that the meshes were. Whoa, got my camera speed way up. Were set up. I've actually got to go into the blueprint and flip that around. That's really interesting. There's the sheriff's house scene.
And that's like a shack or a shed. We don't know what we're doing with that yet, right?
Yeah, I mean that's just a little outbuilding. It could be a house. I mean, like, it could be like a little house. It could be a shed. It could be whatever. I just literally use the same ones over here. They're just little farm houses or huts or whatever, whatever they need to be.
And this is where we get into not needing to have you don't have to build unique assets for every single thing.
No, so I don't know. Can you tell that these are the same?
I mean, I might not have noticed it right away unless you said something, and we haven't finished building them yet. And that's the key part here is that if you can reuse things as often as possible, you should, because it cuts down on production time, but also because it helps, when you need to fill. It's no different as an example than looking at what they did with the Lord of the Rings when they were filming, like the huge battle outside of Minas Tirith. A lot of that was computer generated, so you're getting this sea of orcs. And if you were to go in and look at those individual orcs, if on a close up, like when they're showing thousands of them on the battle scene, if you were to actually go in on those, they would all be pretty much, there might be 10 variations, but they're just lots of copy pasting going on because it's just you're doing a sea of things. But then when they do the close ups and you're looking at the important bits, that's when you're seeing like, oh, you've got Theoden and you've got Eowyn and Aemir, and you've got the actual important hero actors or hero things. And here's no different. We have hero assets and other crap. Which is important for the overall filler to give it some, life. But as he was saying, copy and pasting, and then adding enough unique details to some of them so that they pop, they stand out, and you get that visual reference because the eye is going to be drawn to the ones that have that unique look and feel to them. And 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to notice that um, the repeat stuff going on, which is fine.
Mhm. Yep. I mean, you gotta cut down on production times. So literally what I did here is that is a mesh. So I could literally create any barn that I want from this. I could do brick walls, I could do wood walls, I could do whatever I want within this same.
And since that's modular, you can also go in there and strip out like a column and stuff, right?
Not on this piece, but yes, on the blueprint that I have.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, I could.
Which is
Like if I
great.
didn't want the, if I didn't want this beam up here, I just go into the blueprint, get rid of that beam, create a new blueprint, save it as that, and then create that as a mesh, and there you go.
So this is what, if you have paid attention to our updates on Patreon, I don't know which one we did it in, but um, probably one of the earlier updates because I think we've done 30. I think last Sunday was update 39 for the point and click game, so I think we're getting to do 40 this week. Um, one of the asset pack that we bought for buildings is a modular pack, and if you go look at the pack, the buildings look completely different than the ones we have built. And that's because Joey's done, for those of you who are new to this and are wanting information, if you've already know this stuff, it's us mansplaining a little bit, but kit bashing is just going in and ripping apart the things that we want out of something and repurposing them for our own needs. I think that the only thing that you might look at and say, oh, that looks the same, is the fact that the roof tiles um, pretty much look the same. But apart from that, I think the most important takeaway here is looking at the way that they did the architectural style in the demo for their asset pack. We looked at that and went, that looks cool, but what really attracted us to it was going in and looking at the 150, I don't know how many elements there are in that pack. I think it was like 150 plus. There's a lot of stuff in there, and breaking that down and going, okay, so we've got bricks, blocks, plaster walls, corners, beams, wood panels, glass panes, arch, all of these little individual things that you are then able to take then and combine in your own unique way to make these buildings in a style that fit the visual representation of what we wanted to see. Um, and I think that's for me anyway, I think that's a key takeaway that way too many people don't understand, I think, at least from comments that I've seen on social media. They look at like whether it's Unreal or Unity, and they look at something and you'll see a lot of demos put together that look exactly like what you see on the asset pack store. And that's because what people are doing is they are just literally buying an asset pack and using things as is and throwing it into the game and very quickly putting together a demo, which is fine if what you're creating is like a tech demo that's more about the mechanics as opposed to the visuals because you can change those visuals later. But we were more focused on creating the visual style that we wanted using the asset packs that we were picking up because we saw the little bits and pieces in there that we could use to create something cool for us. I'm really happy with the way the demo scene turned out. I think the sheriff and his hut looks really cool now. Like I hadn't seen this yet because the only thing I've seen is the screenshots you sent to me last week, and of course looking at it in video, but we're not getting the whole wide shot in the videos that you're doing on YouTube. So this is really
Mhm.
cool to come in here and see this. Um,
Yeah, because like if we have the sheriff, I envision like he'll be sitting over here somewhere, right? So he can be, so we can literally like when you come enter dialogue, and the reason you're seeing weird stuff like this is because the lighting's not been built. So it takes a long time to build the lighting. So I just wait until I get an area done and then I build the lighting. So it's having some lighting issues here. But like say the sheriff is sitting right here, we can have the camera as you've seen through the demo, and if you haven't seen that, there's videos you can look at that. When we enter dialogue, we can change the camera view to pan in and focus on a closer area So we could have the shot come and be over here, wherever the sheriff's sitting or wherever we want. So it's important to actually build out the whole building, not
And
just so that it looks good from here.
yes, and also this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about if we were ever to decide to go back in
Hmm.
and do this as an RPG, we're trying to build things out in such a way that they actually are built out so that if we ever decided we wanted to do it first person or something, we could. Although there are corners, as an example, using the angle that you're at right now, if we wanted to cut corners, one of the things that could be done is we just wouldn't build the backside of those houses.
Hmm.
Like if it,
Which,
I think you may
if
have
you
done
look,
that. Yeah.
look, I don't put anything on here because we're never gonna see this, and it's just wasted. If I did it just so that if you happen to see it, it's not completely blank. But there's no windows, there's no roof, there's no need for it.
And this would, even if we decided that we were going to go in and build an RPG, we wouldn't be giving you, there's still going to be, uh, zone. I'm saying zone lines, but that's not the word I'm looking for at this point. There'll be areas that you can't go. I mean, it still is a linear. It would still be
So,
a linear path. You can't go everywhere in games, and anybody that's
correct.
built games before you do it like this is no different than working on a movie set. Whatever you see in front of the camera, behind you is like 35 guys and girls and people working on set, and there's probably somebody off to the left and somebody off to the right holding the microphone boom, holding the light sheet and everything else. It's the stuff that you don't see that makes everything look realistic. So
Yep. And like Unreal has really cool, I think they're called, I can't remember what it's called, a blocking volume maybe. But like so like when I set up my navigation, my nav mesh, um, I will have to go through at one point, when we figure out exactly where we want everything to be, and I will have to set boundaries, and I will go through and I will manually place, that way the character can't just wander off into the distance, or
oh, I think we
and
already
then
did that in the demo too. Because at one point, one of the earlier iterations, he was literally, we wanted
well,
him to stop there and he was able to go beyond and he just kept walking
I
off towards the windmill.
I did a really quick fix in the demo because again, we were working on a demo. I had a time limit that I was already over. So all I did for the demo was I shrunk the nav mesh to where he couldn't go further. But since we're building this in such a linear fashion, uh, I have to extend the nav mesh so that he can go, you know, through the whole area. So I will actually have to go through and put, you know, blocks and stuff like that.
Where you cannot go.
You shall not pass.
Don't see behind. So this is the stables.
Yep. Yep, 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 yep. And I think this will be something like the view. I haven't actually set the camera up for this one because I didn't know where I wanted it to be. I didn't know if we wanted to see these buildings in the background. I didn't know if I wanted it to be like here, or I kind of built this cool little rock that I was just playing. So I didn't know if I wanted it to be here, but then you only see part of this building. So I haven't decided where the camera's going to go on this one yet, but somewhere in here. That way you see the windmill in the background. Because the cool thing about the windmill is it gives you a focal point, and every time you zone, you're going to be getting closer to this windmill, and so it's going to be getting closer, but it's always going to kind of be there in the background, which I think is kind of cool. Get out here, NPC.
And in terms of, if anybody has out there has played Quest for Glory 1, we're definitely drawing inspiration from the stables at the castle for the way that we did the stables here. We may even have some quests. We may even have a quest at the stables, which is a throwback to Quest for Glory 1, because the stables were a place where you could go on EQ1 and you could earn a couple silver, a couple copper, I forget, but you could sweep the stables and you would get stamina. I think it was stamina and maybe strength too, but I remember you could level up your character's stats by going and cleaning horse shit out of the stables. So we may have to do something, but we're trying to put throwbacks to all these little things. If you've played the demo yet, and if you haven't, you should definitely go download it today. It's freely available. If you're watching this on Twitch with us right now, the links are down below to like the Discord and stuff, and up in the announcement section of the Discord, there's a link to our newsletter where you can go sign up and you get a link to download the demo. You can also find it at weaveandvoid.com or wanderinghermits.com, or just go straight to our Patreon page, patreon.com/wanderinghermits. You can get a free copy of the demo there if you want to play through it. Also, we've got a trailer up on our YouTube channel. So if you're watching this after the fact, don't forget to check that out. And links would be down below on YouTube. And if you want to do extra credit, in the announcement section of our Discord, there are links to two videos done by some of our friends. The Nathan Napalm and Simmerg have both done playthroughs on their YouTube channels showcasing the demos. So you can check it out there as well. Easter eggs, that's why I mentioned that. Sorry. There's lots of Easter eggs back in the demo, and we're trying to throw as many of those as possible in here because it's fun. As people who have played the old Quest for Glory games or King's Quest games or Space Quest games or any of those. Also, we've got references to like Firefly, Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time,
Sorts of.
or even yeah, and we've got references to our tabletop game, references to the novel. There's lots of fun stuff. Um,
I'm gonna play this, and then you'll get to see how I kind of have the zoning set up at the moment. So this is the main scene.
yeah, so if you've played the demo, this is what you would see, and then he's gonna run into the next scene now. That's a pretty fast transition. Is it that?
Hmm.
Have you? I'm assuming you haven't done a build yet. Is it that fast in the build too?
It should be
That's pretty cool.
because you're not actually changing scenes.
Scenes, you're just moving the can to the
It's
next camera.
you're just moving to the.
I wonder
I need
if
to move.
here's a question that I don't know if you know an answer to this yet. If we're able to, that looks really cool. That one looked really cool because it was a. Oh, and we've already got, dude.
Yeah, we'll be
Okay,
able to.
I haven't seen any of
Yeah,
this. What
well,
the hell? Why are you not sending? You need to be taking screenshots, all this shit, sharing it
oh,
with me, man.
come on. I saved some of it. Yeah, we'll be able to set up the road sign so that when you click on it, dialogue will pop up and it'll be like to the north, you blah blah blah, to the south, blah blah blah, whatever.
Get me a screenshot of this, please.
Ugh,
I'm
miss.
you're here with me now, so I'm like, give me screenshots
Whoops, wrong button.
for tomorrow's update. You might just have to do print screen if you're.
Yeah, I am. I have to in this one. But yeah, there you go.
So that was zoning.
And then so like here to the stables, and then up here you'll go to. I don't. We don't have names for all this, so I'm just putting placeholder names at the moment. I mean we have names for some of it, like we actually do have the stable names, so I'll need to change that. But to Marin's Rest North, because we'll have to name all of these. So like right now this is called the Crossroads, but we're gonna have another Crossroads to the north before too
Mhm.
long. So we'll have to name these crossroads.
And then south will eventually be to the forest,
Mhm.
which will be. I think we've decided. I think we said there might be half a dozen scenes in the forest exterior before we go to the island.
Yeah.
But I would say probably. I'd say probably 80% of this game takes place in Marin's Rest. 75%, let's say 75%. 75% takes place in Marin's Rest. Maybe 10% in the forest. That might even be high. 5 or 10% in the forest, and the other 15% or so is going to be on the island when you're going to get the
In the
enchanted
in the
sword
caves.
in the caverns. The old
Which I need to
dwarven.
get Marin's Rest done because I can't wait to work on that. We have some really cool assets that I'm excited to work with when we get to that
Yeah, and
point.
they visually they represent exactly what we wanted to see from like the dwarven assets. And so for those of you who are lore junkies, by the way, actually I have the world map here, so we can actually, if I don't, I gotta make sure I
Oh
don't
yeah.
jump my. So Marin's Rest is over here, north of Forkland on the map here. So if you've accessed the world map, you can see it on our Patreon, etc. So Marin's Rest is over here, north of Forkland. The island that he's going to be going to is over here, and these are the ruins of Thexol. So right now on the map, we've got the Dwarven Kingdom all the way down here. If Glesnavir is all the way down in the Nilrhein Mountains over here. Now, before the Cataclysm happened, the Mountain Kingdom was all the way over here, in the middle of what is now the inner sea and the remnants. We've got a big smoking volcano here. This was where, when the humans from the south had their quantum wars 500 plus years ago, there was a great big rift. All the rifts that were happening down south happened, but also because was a planet-wide thing. A giant rift opened up here in the middle of the continent. When that happened, the elves up in Manila, all of those magicians got together and tried to close the rift, and they were able to get it closed, but as a part of that, it exploded. And when it exploded, it caused this giant crater that is now the inner sea, and it split everything up. So, like, I'm not going to be able to go too far. I'm going to have to switch a little bit. All of these islands used to be part of the continent, all right? And they split off. So you can see, like, these all used to be part of all of this. These islands up here, the Frozen Sisters, used to be a part of this. And then it shifted the entire mountain continent, the mountain kingdom, excuse me, down. So what's interesting is the ruins of Thexol, when you get over here, these are actually dwarven ruins. And there's caverns in there that were once part of the dwarven kingdom, which is now gone over here. So this is, for those of you who have never watched the brainstorming episodes that we did back in like March and April on my personal YouTube channel when we were still calling it Project Drammond. The idea for the point and click adventure game is that we were going to have this, kid starting off in a, Smith's apprentice or whatever, and he's going to have a quest and he's going to have to find a magical item, and that magical item is a sword. Um, which I think at one time we said in the corpse of a dragon. We might still run with that. We might not. It just depends on if we modify that kind of stuff. But we already knew from the beginning that the ruins that he was going to have to go to were going to have to be on this island, which is like this constant reminder for everyone who lives around the inner sea, because this volcano is always smoking and it always fills the horizon. Um, so that'll be fun to do. Anyway, sorry, got sidetracked with lore stuff.
It's all good.
Is there anything else we want or need to share today? Because we're already 30 minutes in, and I don't want to have this be a huge thing because we're not wanting to show off all the secret sauce. Plus, we don't have a ton of stuff to share that. Obviously, the next step, I think maybe I could talk about this. The next step for this scene, as an example, would be to add the sheriff and potentially another NPC, which we've talked about before, who's going to be jailed behind the bars. And then we got to give them dialogue. We also have to any items that we want um, to give descriptions to, we can then create tooltip descriptions for those so that when you hover over them, you get a tooltip description. And if it needs to be interacted with, we can make that object interactable as well, some of which can be picked up and put into your inventory for quests later on. Other things might start a quest. They might be an object that has more dialogue with it. And those are things that I work on in terms of once Joey gets a scene done like this, I can then look at the scene and go, okay, dialogue is one thing. Like dialogue, I don't need a scene for. But once I can see a scene is when I can start to think about what needs a description. Um, we have a signpost, cool. I can see we got a dead tree. We could probably give that to a description about the dead tree, like lightning hit this tree 7 years passed, and ever since then it hasn't, and we could make, like, I could literally write a description about that. We could have a description about the sheriff himself, what he looks like, as well as having the dialogue options. His house, the shed, maybe the light post there, the garden in the background. There are lots of things. Then if we do any decorations, we can add descriptions to all of those things.
This is gonna need all sorts of like crates and all sorts of stuff and put in. I haven't done in any foliage other than the mushrooms just because they were fun and I was having fun with the mushrooms.
Yeah, so what you're seeing here is a very, I would say, alpha representation of this right now. The next step, which we're not quite there yet, but we could probably start. I could probably start thinking about it now because you've already got two more scenes built. Well, one more
Yeah.
scene built, and you're working on the stables right now. So I'm getting to the point, probably after the holidays, we'll be at the point where I can start with this next scene because I also need to think about, because we have the main quest from the demo. For those of you who have played the demo, obviously you are left with a cliffhanger of needing to go deliver this item. Can you pull up the map again real quick? You need to deliver an item to
Yep.
the hermit. Now, the hermit is way north, so you're not actually. So if you look, yeah. So well, pan out a little bit. So you're going to start at the the four areas. You're going to go east from there to the sheriff's place, which we just saw. Then you get to the crossroads, which is just east of the sheriff's house. And from there, you'll be able to go south to the forest, east to the stables, or north. Now, the Hermits Village is all the way on the north side of town at the very northern end of this map. We're all the way up there. So we actually have to, for the main storyline, we have to build everything out on the way to him. And that's kind of the way we're designing this right now, is we're just building the scenes out um, in the direction that we have to go for the main quest. The other stuff we will add. Chris is saying that we got to go downstairs real quick. Also, I'll be right back. You can explain that, Joey. I'll be right back.
So what he's talking about is, yeah, we're gonna be building all of this as we go. I don't really know where he was going with that. Other than that, we are building this as we go. That's why we started here. We built the sheriff's house. Now I built the stables. Next thing I'll do is I'll make this crossroads because this is the crossroads where we were. So the next, like when you zone, I'm using air quotes because you're not actually zoning. You will go from here and it'll pop you up here to this crossroads. And from there you'll be able to choose, okay, do I want to go, you know, to the, this would be the bridge, and later we're gonna have, more than likely this will be a playable area. Um, and so when you're at this crossroads, you'll choose, okay, do I want to go to the Kill County Farm, McPherson Farm, or do I want to keep going north? And then when you go to here, you'll be presented with another crossroads because you got to be able to come all the way over here to the church, the Adventurers Guild, and the Hunters Lodge. Um, like this will be its own area, and then very last place will be the Hermit. Uh, and we have it. We've talked about this too. Like we don't know exactly at the moment. I mean, we have a rough outline of the story, and by rough, I mean we know how the story's going, but we don't know. For instance, do we need to be able to enter the Hunter's Lodge? Like we knew we had to be in the Stony Brook Tavern, Lauren Lexicons, and the General Store. Like we knew we had to have interiors for that. Interiors do take a lot of time to build. Um, because they are so detailed and they need to be. So more than likely, the Hunter's Lodge will be a playable zone itself, and then we already know that the Hermit. Um, I mean, we could make him on the outside, but we're probably going to give him an interior for his hut because it's a small one and that's a fun little thing that we can do where you actually go into the Hermit's hut. And then with any of these buildings, at any time, if we want to make them have an interior, we can. It's very simple. Um, so that's one of the nice ways about doing it this way. Uh, we can just flesh it all out and come back to it if we need to. Like none of these farm buildings are going to be interable, um, but we may end up down the road and be like, hey, it'd be really cool is if they had to take this stone back to the Kilkenny farm, right? For some reason, and because they remember old man Kilkenny knew something about this rock, and so we draw them back and then we slap an interior together for the inside of that farmhouse or whatever, stuff like that. Yeah, it's just really cool to see it all come together. Like I said, I don't really know where Tim was going with what he was talking about, but that's what I know. And if we're lucky, he's getting his Xbox, and then maybe we'll get to see some Xbox streams. The hard part about building it this way is because the storyline takes you, when you end, I'll try not to give too much away, but he already gave it away. The cliffhanger at the end is you got to go to the hermit's hut. So the hard part about building it this way is the first thing I want to build is the hut, but I can't do it because I've got to build all these things in between because, I got to figure out exactly, okay, where do I want, Harry's hut to be? And trying to have both of these on the screen at the same time, that's not going to work very good. And what I may have to do is I may have to come in here, and that's what I say about changing the real estate. So like I've tilted things a little bit to make it all fit because I don't want this too big. Everything needs to be to scale. Um, and so Harry's hut is probably going to be like right here on the outskirts, more than likely.
All right, where are we at?
It's probably right. Oh, I was just explaining that we were about where Harry the Hermit's hut's going to be. Trying to figure out where that's going to go up here. And I was saying how it sucks because that's the first thing I want to do because that's where the story left off. I can't do it.
Yeah, we
I've
gotta
got to
work
build
our
all
way
this
there.
first.
That's another good screenshot. Stop! Go back!
Wait,
Like the aerial
where was
shot,
I?
like the
Here?
drone shot. Yeah, that's a great screenshot. Take
Uh,
that, please. I just need to work with you and be like over your shoulder all day micromanaging, right? Screenshot, screenshot,
yeah.
screenshot, screenshot. Because that's how my brain works. It's like, ooh, that's a social media image. And you're like, dude, I'm busy building. Piss off. Let me work.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm building what?
Let me get this. Actually, I'm going to do a print screen here real quick. That looks cool. Here,
Already moved.
actually, stop moving real quick, and I'll do a. Let me go back over to. All right, hold still. We'll do a print screen there. That looks cool. Thank you. That's another shot. Save as. Sweet. Okay.
And what I
Man.
may end up having to do is come in here because like this zone ends abruptly.
Well, there's technically
If
there's
Harry's if
forest
Harry
over there and stuff.
Right, that's my point. So like technically if I put Harry's hut like right on the line, like I'll put some background mountains and stuff in here. Cause you're never gonna go over there. You're just gonna see the scene from like here.
hmm Well, it is coming together, ladies and gentlemen. This is. I mean, we started in March. So and I think the first few months we didn't even do, you didn't do any building the first 2, 3 months because it was mostly learning Unreal
We
after
were
having,
brainstorming, we didn't know.
yeah.
Yep,
We switched over from Unity after having done Unity for 7 years. So at the very least, learning Unreal. I think the hardest part for you was the blueprints, right? Just getting up to speed on blueprints.
yep.
Because world building is
I
world
have I
building.
have no Yeah, exactly. I had no programming background whatsoever, which I still don't, but I can make stuff do things now. Woo.
Blueprints are pretty powerful. Obviously, there's things that there are limitations when you don't have programming skills like we don't. But blueprints are fairly powerful, and for a single player game where we don't have to do networking or anything like we were doing previously with an MMORPG, this lets us do what we want to do without needing to get kind of crazy. And we haven't yet got Chris into it, but yet we're hoping that maybe next year, if we get to the point where we need custom assets, Chris can start to make some custom assets for us at some point, maybe. She's shaking her head at me, going, "I don't know." we haven't crossed
And
that
when we
bridge
say
yet.
maybe, when we say maybe, we mean Chris start making
Yeah,
custom assets
Chris, we need some
now.
swords and shields and weird mushroom things and who knows what else. So,
We need the mushroom men from New Hollis, the starting point in EQ2, the little mushroom
you're
dudes over
saying
there on the
Josh really
island.
likes those
Yeah, we need those in the game.
little mushroom men. Well, I think that's probably a good enough point. We're about 45 minutes in, which is longer than I expected. So hopefully, we've kind of shown you a little bit behind the scenes. The idea, I think, moving forward, because we just spun this Twitch channel up at the beginning of November, so we're only 6 weeks into the Twitch channel even existing. So we're doing lots of different things here on Twitch. We're doing the D&D nights on Sunday nights. We're doing the stand-ups on Wednesday nights. I'm doing incarnate streams showing the map making as I build maps for um, the tabletop world. We're going to be starting miniature painting streams maybe over the holidays, if not early in 2022. The dev series that Joey is doing is exclusive to YouTube, and those come out once a week, or they have so far. We've done 5 episodes so far, and the idea is that those will kind of continue. They might not be weekly moving forward because there's only because like I think you and I were talking about this. There's only so much um, like um, building and placement of buildings that you can show before you're just repeating the same process, even though it's the next scene. So it might be a thing where we might have a couple of week gap before we get into say, oh, now we're placing the NPCs and now we're adding dialogue to the NPCs. Let's show a video on how that works. Those will always be done as documentary videos for YouTube, and then the idea is that once a month ish, I think is the idea, we will be doing a meetup like this on like a Saturday or Sunday morning where we're going to be showcasing all of the work that's been done for the last month, or at least a very quick preview of some of the things that have been done. But for those of you who want to get intimately involved with this, we do updates every single Sunday for the point and click adventure game here called An Adventurer's Tale. We've been doing this since March. We have the 40th update is going live tomorrow. Those updates share behind the screen. So the screenshots that you saw Joey taking during this stream, those are the types of things that get showed off in those Sunday updates. We share the screenshots, we share behind the scenes like snippets of what's going on, what was worked on for the week, so on and so forth, and we do those every single week. If you go to Patreon and you back at that tier, it's not backing, it's supporting. If you support at that tier, you also get a pre order copy of the game and you get access to alpha and beta testing. So the next time we have which we haven't done one in a little while, we did a beta test with our patrons October, I think it was like early October, mid October, just to make sure that we had gotten all the kinks worked out of the demo before we launched it into the wild. We had our Patreon community members come in and test with us. Um, and we're going to be doing that again coming up shortly because we're going to have a new build at some point in the new year. Pre-order you can get a pre-order copy and all that stuff. So definitely check out the Patreon. I don't know what you just did, but your video just went all weird.
I think I froze it. I went to zone and I hadn't loaded the zone. And I was just had a brain fart. I was like, oh, I'll just run into the tavern here.
Just kill
Had a
this.
brain fart that I was in editor.
Oh, I was gonna say you could
Yeah,
probably just kill the stream anyway because we're wrapping up. There we go. All right,
it was
folks. So
cool.
thanks for following along. If you're watching this on Twitch, either live with us or you're watching it after the fact, thanks so much. Do us a solid and follow the channel here on Twitch. If you want to throw us a subscription, that'd be awesome. We're going to be back again Sunday night, obviously, with our D&D session with the folks there. We've got Nathan Napalm, Simmerg, Chris, Joey, myself, Bounty Code, and Sparrow every Sunday night at 9 p.m. And of course, we have the streams and everything else we do for game dev and incarnate building and everything else. And if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you get updates for all the future content that we're doing on development of the Adventurer's Tale, of an Adventurer's Tale, sorry, and all the other things we're doing as part of the Weave in the Void. And of course, don't forget you can join our Discord. Links are down below. And if you want to go above and beyond, don't forget you can pre-order everything over at the Patreon page, patreon.com/wandering hermits. Or if you just want to do some general support, there's a $3 subscription, which gives you access to the chapters as they are published in the book. And it's just a great way to buy Chris a cup of coffee, buy Joey a cup of coffee, or just to say, hey, we appreciate what you're doing without having to go whole hog and pre-order something. All manners of support, likes, shares, comments, follows, everything is great for us. We're just happy that folks want to hang out and pay attention to what we're doing and support what we're building. So thanks so much. Um, yeah. We probably won't do another live stream like this this year, so I guess this is probably a good point. I don't know if you want to come over and say Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Chris, but I can say Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas. Joey, I'll let you go because Chris is going to come over here real quick.
Happy New Year, which
Yeah,
is
Happy New
crazy
Year,
to think
everything.
that
If
this
you
year's
just,
already
Yes.
coming to an end.
Say happy holiday.
Happy Holidays. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a safe one. Don't offend anybody with that one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No,
You might offend
maybe you
somebody that
might.
wants you to say Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year,
New Year.
Happy Holidays, all those
Whatever.
things.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much, everybody. We appreciate your support. Thanks for all the new patrons and everybody. It's been great. All the new people who helped us get affiliate on Twitch recently. That was pretty awesome. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Yeah.